Patience is not waiting. It is the secret act of knowing that what you desire is already yours, simply waiting for its season to bloom. Everyone is chasing abundance, running faster, working harder, hustling endlessly. But Joe Dispenza reveals a shocking truth. True abundance isn't out there. It's not a prize you win or a finish line you cross. It's a state of being, a choice, a frequency you embody. So the real question isn't, how do I get abundance? The real question is, when will I finally become it? Everyone talks about abundance. Social media is flooded with it. Motivational speakers scream it. Advertisements promise it. But here's the brutal truth. Most people are running toward it like a mirage in the desert. The faster they chase, the further it slips away. Because true abundance isn't something you chase. It's a state you embody. And until you understand that, you'll spend your life chasing shadows. Daniel, the tireless chaser. Daniel was ambitious, hungry, desperate to succeed. He worked 60-hour weeks at a job he hated, convinced that if he just pushed harder, the money would finally bring him freedom. He followed every influencer's advice: wake up earlier, grind more, sacrifice weekends. And yes, money trickled in. But no matter how much he made, it slipped through his fingers. The bills grew, the debt piled, the stress multiplied. Daniel's heart whispered, "This isn't abundance, this is survival." But he ignored it. He told himself, "Once I hit the next milestone, then I'll be free." But the milestones kept moving. Like a carrot dangling in front of a horse, abundance was always just out of reach. Sophia, the seeker of fulfillment. Sophia wasn't chasing money, she was chasing love. She believed that once she found the perfect partner, then she'd finally feel whole. She downloaded every app, went on endless dates, bent herself into different versions of what she thought men wanted, and yet rejection kept finding her. Each failed date etched deeper into her chest. "You're not enough. You're still incomplete." Sophia's nights were filled with longing. She scrolled through pictures of happy couples, whispering, "When will it be my turn?" But the more she chased, the more she pushed love away. Because desperation is not magnetism, neediness is not abundance. The invisible trap. Different goals, same pattern. Daniel chased money. Sophia chased love. But neither was living in abundance. Why? Because chasing abundance assumes you don't already have it. And the assumption of lack multiplies itself. Joe Dispenza calls this the invisible trap. When you live in the vibration of not enough, your thoughts, feelings, and actions reinforce that story until it becomes your reality. Metaphor: the hamster wheel. Picture: a hamster running on a wheel. It runs with all its strength, chasing the illusion of forward motion. Its legs burn, its chest heaves, but the scenery never changes. That's Daniel. That's Sophia. That's most of us. Chasing abundance on the outside, but staying stuck in scarcity on the inside. Daniel's spiral. Daniel thought success was one promotion away, but when he got it, the bills grew, the stress deepened, the freedom never arrived. So he set a new goal: a higher salary, a better title, a bigger house. Each time the target shifted, each time the emptiness stayed. He was running a marathon with no finish line, mistaking exhaustion for progress. Sophia's spiral. Sophia thought fulfillment was one relationship away, but every time someone left, she told herself, "See, I'm not enough yet." So she bought new clothes, changed her hair, tried to appear worthy. But the more she sought validation outside, the more she broadcasted lack inside. And lack always repels abundance. The silent epidemic. This isn't just Daniel and Sophia. This is millions. People scrolling endlessly, chasing money, love, validation, health, freedom, always as something out there. The irony: the harder they chase, the emptier they feel, because the act of chasing is itself a declaration of lack. Metaphor: the cup with a hole. Imagine holding a cup with a hole at the bottom. No matter how much water you pour in, it leaks out. That's what chasing does. It empties you faster than life can fill you. The emotional cost. Daniel's body carried stress like armor. Migraines, tight shoulders, restless nights. Sophia's heart carried loneliness like a shadow. Every smile was forced, every silence heavy. And yet, they kept chasing, because they didn't know another way. Why chasing never works? Because chasing assumes separation. It assumes abundance is over there, while you are over here. It turns abundance into a finish line you never cross. But Joe Dispenza reveals the paradox. Abundance isn't the destination, it's the starting point. The audience's mirror. Now pause for a second. Where are you chasing? Money, love, health, validation? And what if the very act of chasing is the reason it keeps running away? Sit with that. Let it sting. Because until you admit it, you'll keep running on the same hamster wheel as Daniel and Sophia. Loop forward. But here's the mystery. If abundance isn't something to chase, then how do you experience it? If it's not out there, then where is it? The answer is shocking. It's already inside you. It's a state of being you can choose today, right now, by aligning your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. And in the next step, we'll uncover exactly how to begin embodying that state. Joe Dispenza says it clearly. True abundance means living with fullness of health, love, creativity, freedom. It's not something you chase. It's a state of being that you embody. This is the turning point, the exit from the hamster wheel, the shift from chasing to becoming. Because the secret is not to wait for abundance to show up, it's to live as if it's already here. Daniel's first step. Daniel was exhausted. The grind wasn't working, but one night he read those words from Joe Dispenza. Abundance is a state of being. Something clicked. The next morning, instead of rolling out of bed anxious about bills, he sat quietly and asked himself, if I were already abundant, how would I think right now? How would I feel? What would I believe? For the first time, he noticed his body soften. His breath slowed. His mind stopped racing. He imagined walking through his day not as a desperate man, but as someone free, creative, in control. That single shift didn't erase his debt, but it erased the prison in his mind. Sophia's first step. Sophia, too, stumbled on a revelation. Instead of asking, when will love come, she asked, if I were already loved, how would I show up today? She smiled in the mirror. Not a fake smile, but a gentle one, as if she already carried affection inside her. She walked into work differently. Instead of searching for validation, she gave compliments freely, laughed openly, carried warmth, and something strange happened. People responded. Strangers smiled back. Conversations flowed. The abundance she embodied began reflecting outward. Metaphor: the radio frequency. Think of life like a radio. If you want jazz, you don't beg the station to play it. You tune the dial to the frequency where jazz is already playing. Abundance is the same. You don't chase it, you tune to it by thinking, feeling, and believing as though it's already yours. Why embodiment works? Because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you consistently feel health, love, freedom, creativity, you're programming your subconscious to accept it as fact. And once the subconscious accepts, the outer world conforms. Guided reprogramming. Audience exercise. Pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Ask yourself, if I were already abundant, how would I breathe right now? If I were already abundant, how would I sit? How would I smile? How would I speak? Now do it. Straighten your posture. Breathe deeply. Smile gently. This is embodiment. This is abundance. Not tomorrow. Now. Daniel's shift in daily life. Daniel started practicing this daily. At work, instead of rushing with panic, he slowed down, confident. He acted like the man who already had options, already had freedom. And people noticed. His boss treated him differently. Clients responded differently. Nothing miraculous had happened yet. But in truth, everything had changed. Because Daniel wasn't waiting anymore. He was being. Sophia's shift in daily life. Sophia kept showing up with love in her chest. She stopped swiping desperately on dating apps. She stopped rehearsing ways to prove her worth. Instead, she laughed louder, listened deeper, radiated presence. And slowly, invitations came. New friends appeared. A man at a cafe asked for her number, not because she was chasing, but because she was shining. Metaphor, the actor in the role. An actor doesn't wait for the movie to release to become the character. They study, practice, walk, breathe, and speak as that person long before the cameras roll. By the time filming begins, the transformation is complete. You must do the same. Become the abundant self before the world films your life. The challenge of consistency. But here's the catch. It feels strange at first. Daniel's ego whispered, "This is fake. You're broke." Sophia's ego hissed, "You're alone. Don't pretend." That resistance is natural, but persistence is the key. Because every time they returned to the state, it grew stronger, and every time they abandoned it, scarcity returned. Audiences mirror. Now look at yourself. Where are you chasing? Money, love, health, freedom? And what would it look like if you stopped chasing and started embodying? Close your eyes tonight. Imagine the scene already fulfilled. Don't ask when, don't ask how. Simply ask, how would I think, feel, and believe if it were already mine? And then live from that place. Loop forward. But if embodiment is this powerful, why doesn't everyone succeed? Because there's a deeper enemy. The old self, the conditioned mind, the ego addicted to lack. And unless you learn how it sabotages you, you'll find yourself slipping back again and again. That's the problem we face next. At first, Daniel and Sophia felt free. They had tasted the state of abundance. Daniel carried himself with new confidence. Sophia walked with new warmth. But soon, the old voices returned. The voice of the past. Daniel sat at his desk one morning, smiling, breathing deeply. Then a bill notification popped up on his phone. The old voice whispered, "See, you're not abundant, you're drowning." Sophia enjoyed a moment of connection at work, but then she opened social media, saw pictures of her friends with partners, and the voice said, "See, you're still alone, you're still behind." The ego doesn't give up easily. It feeds on fear, comparison, doubt. And every time you rise into abundance, the ego tries to drag you back into scarcity. Metaphor, the rubber band. Imagine stretching a rubber band. The further you pull it, the stronger it snaps back. That's the subconscious mind. That's the ego. When you step into a new state, the old identity resists. It tries to snap you back into the comfort of scarcity, because that's what it knows. Daniel's setback. Daniel began to question his progress. He had been feeling abundant, but his bank account still showed red numbers. The ego mocked him. "You're pretending. You're lying to yourself." Doubt seeped in. He stopped his morning practice. He started rushing again, panicking again, and soon he was back where he started, tired, anxious, chasing Sophia's setback. Sophia felt radiant for weeks, but one night, after a lonely dinner, she thought, "Who am I kidding? I'm still alone." She deleted her affirmations. She skipped her visualization. The warmth faded. The loneliness returned. She was back in the spiral, scrolling, comparing, aching. Why this happens to everyone? Because abundance is not yet their default identity. It's like planting a seed and expecting a tree tomorrow. The soil needs nurturing. The roots need time. But impatience kills the process, and the ego thrives on impatience. Metaphor: digging up the seed. Imagine planting a seed in the soil. Each day you water it, trust it, let it grow unseen. But then, in frustration, you dig it up to check if it's sprouting. The seed dies. That's what happens when you doubt your inner work. Every time you check too soon, every time you demand proof, you uproot your own abundance. The science of conditioning. Joe Dispenza explains, 95% of our daily thoughts and feelings are recycled from yesterday. That means most people are living today as a copy of their past. So even when you glimpse a new reality, the weight of old patterns pulls you back unless you persist. Reprogramming affirmation. Audience. Repeat slowly. I release the need for instant proof. I trust the unseen process. I water the seed, I don't dig it up. Feel the words, let them anchor you. Daniel and Sophia's realization. Both of them hit walls. Both of them slipped. But here's the key, slipping isn't failure. Daniel realized that every time he doubted, it was just the old program running, not the truth. Sophia realized that every time she compared, it was just the ego whispering, not reality. And once they saw the pattern, they began to fight back, not with force, but with awareness. Metaphor: the prison guard. Think of your old self like a prison guard. Its job is to keep you inside the familiar cell, even if it's painful. When you try to escape, the guard shouts, threatens, drags you back. But the truth is, the guard has no power once you stop listening. The audience's mirror. Now pause. Where is your ego pulling you back? Do you feel impatient with your finances? Do you compare your relationships with others? Do you demand proof before believing? These are all prison guards. They are illusions of scarcity dressed as reality. But here's the paradox. Your reality is simply yesterday's belief, repeated today. Loop forward. So how do you win? How do you break free from the old conditioning, from the prison guards, from the rubber band of scarcity? The answer is not willpower. It's persistence in identity, to embody abundance until it becomes second nature, to hold the state long enough for the world to mirror it back, and in the next step we'll uncover the ultimate solution, how to live in a state of abundance so fully, so naturally, that it becomes your magnetic identity. Daniel and Sophia finally saw the pattern. It wasn't about chasing. It wasn't about waiting for instant proof. It was about trusting the process, trusting that the seed they planted inside would bloom at the right time. Daniel learns to trust the season. Daniel stopped demanding instant results. Every morning he returned to his practice, breathing, slowing down, thinking and feeling like a man who already lived in freedom. At first, nothing seemed to change. But Daniel reminded himself, the seed doesn't sprout in a day. The roots grow before the tree appears. Weeks later, opportunities he had never noticed began showing up. Not because he chased them, but because he had become aligned with them. His clients began treating him with more respect. A new offer landed in his inbox, and more importantly, his stress melted away. He was no longer waiting for abundance, he was walking in it. Sophia learns to stay in the state of love. Sophia did the same. Every night before sleep, she imagined herself already held, already loved, already radiant. She whispered softly, I am love. I am whole. I am magnetic. The loneliness didn't vanish overnight, but her energy shifted. Instead of asking life, when will it come? She began saying, thank you, it is already here. And then it happened. A friend introduced her to someone who resonated deeply with her heart. Not forced, not chased, attracted by who she had become. Metaphor: the fruit and the tree. A tree does not bear fruit the day after it's planted. But if the gardener keeps watering, keeps nurturing, keeps trusting, eventually the branches are heavy with abundance. The fruit was always inevitable. And so it is with you. Your only job is to stay in the state, to embody it daily until the outside world has no choice but to catch up. Reprogramming exercise. Audience. Close your eyes now, breathe deeply. Imagine the moment after your desire has already manifested. Hear the words you would hear. Feel the relief in your body. Smile as if it has already happened. Now whisper inside, "It is done. I am that." This is the practice. This is how the seed grows. Why patience is power. Because impatience is still scarcity. It says, "I don't have it yet." But patience is abundance. It says, "It's already mine. I'm just waiting for the harvest." Daniel stopped rushing. Sophia stopped comparing. And both discovered the same truth. When you remain in the state, life rearranges itself around you. The audience's choice. Now ask yourself, will you keep digging up the seed, demanding proof? Or will you water it daily, trusting the roots you cannot see? Because the world mirrors you. When you embody abundance long enough, it flowers in ways you could never predict. Closing inspiration. Remember Neville's wisdom. When you embrace the desired state, you have assumed its impregnation, and its fulfillment has its own appointed hour. It will ripen and flower. If the state is slow in objectifying itself, wait, for it is sure and will not be late. That is the law, that is the truth, and that is your invitation. So close your eyes tonight, step into the state, live it, trust it, and watch as the stage of life rearranges itself to reflect your inner world. Because the seed you water today will be the garden you walk in tomorrow. If you stayed with me until now, you've already planted the seed. You've stepped into the state of abundance. Now, let's anchor it together. Hit the like button, not as a favor to me, but as your declaration that you are remaining in the state until it flowers. Subscribe so that your environment, your feed, your digital space keeps reflecting the new self you've chosen to embody. Every new video becomes a reminder that you are walking in your new reality. And finally, in the comments, write these words slowly, with conviction. I remain in the state until it flowers. Type it as if you're engraving it into your subconscious. Feel it as truth. Because with this act, you're not just watching a video, you're rehearsing your new reality. And tomorrow, you'll begin to see signs of it blooming all around you.